Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Title Tuesday. I got Eric Downing with me again from Hawker Title here in Indianapolis. They do an amazing job, and Eric is just a great resource just in the Indianapolis investing community, and hopefully in just the bigger real estate investing community and wholesaler community, as he is providing some amazing nuggets on these throughout the weeks here in 2021. So Eric, thanks a lot for joining me again. Really appreciate you, brother. And with that, I want to talk about how we can help you instead of you always helping us. So as a wholesaler, I know I always want to make sure that I'm helping the seller, I'm helping the buyer, I'm helping the title company as well. I always want to make sure lender, insurance company, who's ever involved, I want to make sure I'm helping them. So Eric, on that last episode of Title Tuesday, we were talking a little bit about how as a wholesaler, really we are the linchpin to that deal, or we need to be the linchpin, and we need to be able to do what we can do to help out. So let's dig into that a little bit more today on if you are a wholesaler and you're involved in that transaction. It's not just sending the paperwork to the title company and saying, all right, I'm out so I get my check. How can a wholesaler really help out and kind of be involved to make sure things happen on time, they go smoothly? So what are some things that a wholesaler can really do to help out in that situation?
Well, the first two things you said about on time and what did you just say? On time and something else. Like those two things don't happen.
Yeah.
But
So,
in all honesty, we love to work with any type of real estate investor, and I always tell them when they're new, and we talk about this all the time, stay in constant communication with the parties. You know more about them and the property than we do. All we're doing is pulling county records. We know, things about taxes, things about liens, judgments, encumbrances, encroachments, but we don't know the party. We don't know the seller. We don't know the buyer. We run into this all the time where we try to reach out to the seller. They don't have email. They're not picking up their phone. We need them to sign an authorization so that we can get a payoff. Maybe that's something that you have to jump in and help with. And we have a lot of investors that we know as soon as we can't get a hold of that seller, we reach out to them because they've told us whatever you need, you let us know. And we do that all the time. But you've got to let us know that, and you've got to be willing to answer your calls and listen to your voicemails, because we might reach out and say, listen, we can't get your seller to respond. Maybe they don't know about us. Maybe you haven't told them. That's another piece that we've talked about. But if you could somehow get in the middle and help us achieve what we need to achieve to move the file forward, it helps out tremendously. We don't send couriers around to get documents signed. You're the one with that relationship. So it is best if you try to do that. Or, talk to them about coming into our office. We have that all the time, to get a resolution signed, to get trust documents signed, to get a payoff or an authorization signed. They can come to us as well. But you are the linchpin. You're the one that knows the most about their capabilities, the buyer's capabilities, and the transaction. So the more you can be involved, the more we can rely on you as a title company, the quicker everything's going to work.
Yeah, I think that's really important. A lot of times, maybe the seller doesn't have a printer and a scanner and can't do all this stuff, but what can you do to help it out? Maybe maybe they just need to, okay, yeah, you can go into the title company to sign that. That's okay. And they can drive down there. I mean, I've taken paperwork to sellers before or buyers before. I've driven people to the title company before just to say, hey, I'll do this. I paid for an Uber before. It's like, hey, I can get you an Uber there. It's actually whatever happens, that maybe that $60 round trip Uber ride isn't too bad when I'm getting a check for $5,000 on an assignment fee or whatever it may be. So what are some things that you can do to even just help out with that? But I feel like, Eric, that really that big piece, we talk about it all the time. I think this word comes up on every single Title Tuesday we've done, but it's communication. It's really with me too, is what I always look at. It's having a servant heart. So how can I help you in this? How can I do this? And, just being able to communicate or make sure that they're aware, like, hey, come to me, let me know what needs to happen, but then be able to do those little things too that, that comes through for it. So, and with the title company, it's just, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Another big one is, and when we work with new investors all the time, I always recommend that, I have them communicate with our title clearance team and what are the documents that we typically need signed in order to process certain things. And one of those is always an authorization to talk about tax prorations. And so we will equip our investor partners with certain documentation that when they go out and get that purchase agreement signed, they go ahead and get a couple things. They're ahead of the game now. We don't have to worry about trying to communicate with that seller or ask you later to run over there again and get something signed. Yeah. If you just take our document blank and you take them with you and get that stuff signed, it's not always going to avoid us needing something else, but 20% of the time is better than 0% of the time. So if you're able to get something ahead of time, we're going to be able to move and process much quicker. And so a lot of folks just include our documentation along with their purchase agreement and other documents so that they can get that signed ahead of time.
Yep, definitely. I think that's huge. And a big thing kind of along those lines, I think the biggest thing that a wholesaler can do to help out a title company, a buyer, seller, whoever, is make sure a wholesaler, you as a wholesaler, make sure you understand the paperwork you're using. If you understand all the things that are in the purchase agreement, if you understand all the things that are in the closing, in the closing statement and things like that, if you understand how to read those things and explain those things, man, you can be a huge asset to be able to talk through everything that's going on and stuff like that. So, and you can help, and you can also be proactive about any of the, what questions are going to come up of like, the seller's going to ask like, oh, I thought you said I was getting, $60,000 of this. Why is there $500, taken out of here for taxes? And you can explain those things. Hey, this is what's going to happen. Here's, be careful, or just so you're in the know, here's what's going to happen. Oh, we're splitting closing. So that's what this means. All those things. If you understand all that stuff that's in your documentation, all the paperwork that even the title company is using, man, that would be a huge asset to be able to help out everybody involved.
Absolutely. It helps everything move a lot quicker. I mean, again, it's our job, but the more that you can kind of get in front, since it's your customer too. I mean, as an investor, the investor is our customer.
Yeah.
Your customer is the buyer and the seller. And so, we want to treat you with the respect and we want to tell you what's needed. Then if you can help get some of that information, that's really where you can step up and help us process everything much quicker.
Yeah.
Because at any given time, a title company might be working 10, 20, 50, or 150 files. And they might pick up the phone today and try to call your seller, and then it doesn't show up on their list again until tomorrow. Well, if you can get on the phone with them, you don't have 150 files, presumably.
Yeah.
So you can pick up the phone and get a hold of them or bring them down. I mean, it just makes everything go a lot quicker. And you're right, communication, we can't kill that enough. I mean, that is from the start to finish. The better you are at communicating with all the parties, you're going to get things done and you're going to be very successful.
Yeah. So it's so important that understanding and realizing that your reputation is everything in this business too. So that's how you get more business. If you can do your best to, help out the seller, help out the title company, help out the buyer, whoever it may be, doing those little things, guess who they're going to come to the next time they need something. If they're, if I'm Mrs. Seller and my aunt needs to sell her house as well, who do you think I'm going to recommend? The guy that helped me out the last time I went through this and stuff. So keep that in mind. And so keep that in mind. And there's a lot of things that a wholesaler can do to help out everybody involved. And just do that. Have that servant heart, being involved in that communication, and hopefully that will take you a long way. So Eric, thanks a lot for joining me on this episode of Title Tuesday, and we will see you guys next time, as we probably will dig into a little bit more. Hey, what are some issues that pop up and how do we deal with those? So take care, guys.